Let's go, girls. Welcome to Tunnel Talk, a no facts, all feelings wrestling podcast on the Social Suplex Network. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
How's everybody doing this week?
Oh,
better than last week?
I think we have better energies.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't spent the last 5 days feeling like I was going to barf, so that's a big win for me.
And you look very good.
That's our low bar we're trying to get over. I would say you really exceeded it. You do look refreshed, healthy, glowing. Mm-hmm. Leah, you look normal too.
Healthy, refreshed, glowing, and you're fine.
Well, you looked better last week. You know, you didn't look sick as a dog last week.
Leah, C's get degrees.
Yeah, spring is finally here. That's nice. Mm-hmm. It's lilac season, so that's something worth living for.
Yeah. You got to find things that are worth living for.
So true.
Every week. Speaking of things worth living for, Anne, are you prepared to tell us what's making you happy this week?
I am prepared, and I will not even be resentful about it.
Yes, and did you perhaps find that searching your mind for something that makes you happy kind of lifted your spirits and helped you to re-engage with the world around you?
It's kind of a gratitude practice. Yeah, that's how I was finding it. Yeah.
Now I am the one who's barfing.
Yeah. Well, go do it privately, Leah. Anne's going to tell us what's making her happy.
I actually, in tribute to the name of this segment, I actually think what was making me happy today was Pop Culture Happy Hour, the podcast.
Oh, my goodness.
Sometimes professionally, I have to listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, which is a pleasure often, but sometimes I just overdose on wrestling. I'm like, I just need something light that isn't going to, upset me, that isn't about anything.
Yeah.
Deep or dark or political or anything like that. And I put on a little Pop Culture Happy Hour, and it's like they do a review of a product. It's usually fun, and they get in and out in 20 minutes, which I think is remarkable, frankly.
It's pretty amazing. You've actually made my week because I have been having, especially now that I'm commuting again, I've been having so much trouble finding things to listen to on the commute because I'm off so many of my usual podcasts because they might jump scare me.
Yeah.
And I can't be hearing anything I don't expect. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. Gotta protect your peace.
Yes. So I've been struggling quite a bit. And now I'm rejuvenated. I'm like, oh my God, that's right. I have so much Pop Culture Happy Hour. I haven't listened to it in a while. That's going to keep me going for months.
Just a cheerful little thing about pop culture, and it's they hit the high points and then they get out. Sometimes they're a little too gentle on things that suck, but
much too gentle. But that's kind of fun in its own way because they do get into, even when I don't agree with their opinions, they get into the guts of why they feel the way they do about something. Yeah. So it's always an opinion that you can develop a counter opinion too. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I always want to have a conversation after listening to it.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about them too that I think they're really good at is that they will have people who strongly disagree with each other, and their energy is always oh, how interesting. That's nice. It just doesn't get awkward or confrontational at all, which is also wow, you guys seem really emotionally well regulated. It makes me feel emotionally well regulated.
Which that's usually a quality we detest in people who are entertaining us, but in this way, it is good.
I know. And I haven't talked to my old friend Linda Holmes in so long. I haven't checked in with old Glenn. I love Glenn. Oh my God.
See, Glenn drives me crazy, but
he drives me insane.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like any of his opinions.
No, they're all terrible opinions, and all his jokes are terrible.
But he's so confident in them. I love when Glenn will talk about a piece of media that I have dismissively, having watched and experienced, been wow, trash, pablum. I can't believe that this is what they're feeding the masses now. And Glenn is just this really lit me up inside. I can't believe, I'm I'm a hard grader usually, but like this delighted me. It's like, I guess you're a hard grader. I think it's just that your taste is incredibly bad, Glenn.
Yeah, it's just like the weirdest taste you ever heard. Sometimes I think about how he hated It's a Wonderful Life and I get angry all over again. It's like, Glenn, everyone likes It's a Wonderful Life. What is the problem?
And Glenn is so funny because he sometimes doesn't seem that in touch with the fact that it's like he'll be like a really light grader on queer media that like clearly is like touching something in him that it's like, I wish I'd had this when I was young. And it's like, well, we all wish we'd had things when we were young, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily good, like, TV shows now, Glenn.
Right.
Necessarily.
Right. Yeah. Queer people can also make terrible art.
That's their right.
It's their right. Are they not human beings?
My God, to make bad art is a privilege that all of us have in this world, and don't we know that from watching wrestling?
Oh, don't we ever?
On a related just topic of like, you know, getting back into podcasts that aren't about wrestling, I'll say that I recently picked back up This American Life, which I haven't listened to since 2014, 2015.
Yeah, probably.
But it is quite the dicey prospect, though, because it's like sometimes it's like this beautiful story about this, like, you know, like I don't even know, like an old couple that own a store, and you get to hear, you know, everything that happened. And sometimes they tell you the bleakest thing that's ever happened, and you're like, well, I guess I'll go die. I don't know what else there is.
And you're like, I guess that was This American Life. It's like you can't deny truth in advertising, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just was talking about This American Life at work this week because for something was happening that we all kept talking about, like, you know, the episode of This American Life where they're talking about the production of Peter Pan, where everything goes wrong.
Yes.
But you haven't heard that, and you're shockingly the first person I've interfaced this week who, when I mentioned that, did not say, oh, I love that episode. Even people at work that I'm like, I didn't know you knew how to, like, listen to the radio. They'd all heard it. I was shocked.
Wow.
But I think the episode's called Catastrophe, and every story in it is delightfully deranged. Yeah. I think it's Catastrophe, something like that.
This American Life is so good when it hits.
When it hits, it hits. Man, those are two great recommendations. Guys, maybe when I drive home from work next week, I won't have to scream at the top of my lungs in my car 6 full times. Maybe I'll just be calm. Wouldn't that be fun?
Just absolutely put at peace by the dulcet tones of Linda Holmes and or Ira Glass.
I would love that. Because instead, I mean, I've been getting home in my, like, Dr. Doolittle If I Were a Man mood, where I'm like thrashing across the moors, just being like, I'm gonna burn this society to the ground.
That's what commuting does to you.
Dude, it ruins your... protect your peace? No. Destroy your peace.
Have you seen
your peace?
Have you seen those studies that people's like happiness and survey goes down, like correlated with the length of their commute?
I believe it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
I believe it. Okay. Well, great talk, guys. Let's get to the wrestling. This week, Dynamite had a new theme song that was apparently by Sum 41. What did you guys think?
I didn't hear it because I was late turning on the show, so I had listened to it later, and I was like, this rules. I do want to see the actual like opening, but I was like, I love it. I love the Sum 41 of it all.
I do love Sum 41, like, for sure. Turning on Dynamite and being met with an unfamiliar song is an experience that I hate. So I had a really visceral negative reaction.
I don't think I really processed the song at all because I was so scared. Like, it was like,
exactly.
Mommy,
like
what's happening?
I thought we were bringing the boom, but I guess we're not.
I think it was I had a better reaction to it than the last time they tried to do a new theme song.
Was that what they did?
Yes, it was. I'm so excited, and the entire internet was like, "Turn that off! Don't do that again."
I actually liked that one. I think because I thought it was so funny, and because everybody else like had such a viscerally negative. I think this one was a little too close to the real Dynamite theme without being the Dynamite theme for me. Whereas if it was like, you know, I'm so excited, you're like, wow, this is not the vibe.
I didn't see that coming. I think I could listen to it next week and love it, but I won't know until I won't know until I log on to Max at 7 p.m. exactly, and it starts... Well, actually, usually I have to refresh at 7 p.m. because the Max app doesn't work very well, and it finds it really difficult to transition from the waiting room to the show. But
yeah, you go right from that like calming music to Sum 41 in a very organic kind of feeling. Yeah.
I have to say, I'm glad they have a theme song again because I didn't like that we didn't have one.
True.
That felt very dysregulating to me.
Yeah,
a show should have a theme song.
A show has to have a theme song. Like, you need that Pavlovian response.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I'm in the mood for...
But I don't know what made Tony crazy about the boom, because I'm like, I liked
it. Was
what
great.
was wrong with the boom? Yeah.
I think it's just the way that all companies periodically are like, should we change our like very cool and distinct logo to something that everybody hates and that looks like everything else? We have to. Brands have to move with the times.
Yeah.
You can keep the same logo. You can keep the same theme song. Sometimes change isn't good. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes
things being stable, there's one thing in this godforsaken world that stays the same, and you just rip it away from us.
Did you know that girls with anxiety watch your show, Tony?
He certainly does not.
He says, I wish they wouldn't because they're always yelling at me.
I'm doing what I can to get them out of there, but they keep clinging on.
Nevertheless, we persist, eh, Tone?
Tony, we got an American Pope. Anything could happen. Wow.
I can't believe we have an American Pope.
That's wild.
It's really a problem, I think.
It was really interesting
I'm pretty psyched.
to me to be like all of my online spaces and in my office today, because I was in person, had the exact same reaction of like, American Pope? I didn't think they let us do that.
In 2025?
Didn't we in general, you kind of feel like it's like, I'm not Catholic, and I don't really like hear that much about the Pope usually, like, but the excitement of everybody waiting for smoke to come out of a little smokestack and having a camera on the smokestack being like, when will the smoke come? It was like, God, we should do this for more stuff. Like, this is good. This is good for morale. Like,
one thing you've got to say for Catholics is they know drama.
They do know drama. I think that they should announce
of old world religions. Can't beat them.
That's something they have not shifted the delivery mechanism for 1,500 years, and that is what Tony got to take a lesson from.
Tony, I want Dynamite to be like the conclave.
I want the color of the smoke, because that was the only long-distance communications available at the time, literal millennia ago, to be what we're still doing today.
Tradition can be good when it doesn't hurt people.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Just to be clear, politically, it's like...
Some traditions Allie doesn't support, but others, she does.
I'm saying it's like if you look at a tradition and it's like, this is fun, it harms no one, it creates a sense of community, excitement, like, keep it.
Yeah.
You know? But if it's bad and it harms people, get rid of it.
Once again, Tunnel Talk bravely says if it's good, it's good, and if it's bad, it's bad.
But don't you sometimes feel like we are the only people willing to say that?
Sometimes, yeah.
You'd think it would be more common. All right. Okay, actual wrestling. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, girls. I think we can begin with Hangman. Hangman came out and opened Dynamite with a promo about how hard the last few years have been for him and how he doesn't understand really why anyone is ever nice to him. And he looked like such a sweet little puppy, and I just wanted to cry.
God. I was like, that is a Ultimo sweetie baby.
Yeah.
Like, Ultimo.
The camera was so close to his face sometimes, too. I kept just wanting to, like, reach out and, like, pet his hair.
Yeah.
It was amazing because it was like, obviously, you're a professional. You know what you're doing. And, wow, you're so good at it. You're better than anyone's ever been at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, Tony, I'm going to do a promo, and all the girls will want to reach through their screens and pet me. And they'll be messaging HBO Max, like, when is, like, live pet technology coming?
For the listener, the Zoom celebrated that enunciation with confetti starting Allie's stream. Yeah,
she said live pet reaction, but a lot of confetti came over her screen.
I know nobody likes when I tell you this, but I do have to tell everybody what's going on right now. AllEliteWrestling.com they've either hired a different recapper or they're using AI to do the recaps, which I disapprove of. So they've done one thing well, which is that there's a table of contents at the top of each recap that tells you like everything that happened in the show. That's amazing. That's great. But in order to give you that, they took away transcribing literally any of the promos, any of them. Like, they kind of transcribe them because they'll just, like, use them as the recap sometimes, but they're not in quotes, so you don't really know. It's not a source of truth. It never has been, but less than ever. I'm fucking ripshit about it. I'm so angry. It's so hard to just find someone doing good work in this world anymore.
I know. People are always talking about how, like, the nerds at Cage Match quantify everything. So people are keeping notebooks with matches. I'm like, where is the person that's out there documenting what promos are happening and what happened in them? The fact that you can't just get that is crazy.
Yeah. Can AEW not afford like one of those auto transcribers?
Right. Are you
just
fucking
throw it up
broke?
there?
Yeah. You can't just get Caption Max on board. It makes me legitimately angry. But I did transcribe the promos for us because I do my best, girls.
We work hard, unlike some people.
I was very impressed that you transcribed those. That was amazing.
Thank you very much. What did you think of Hangman's promo?
I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
I think in a perfect world, I feel like what he was doing is like recentering everybody in his little like face turning journey where he's like, okay, here's where we came from and here's where we're going. Is everybody with me? And I think in a perfect world, he wouldn't have had to do that, but some people did need it. And the way he did it, I liked very much. So I was completely fine with it.
Yeah. And it's like very enjoyable to watch him come out there kind of shame-faced to talk about like how he feels about the things he did and what he was trying to do. Like, that's erotic.
Yeah. It was interesting because it's obviously not like, you know, we had all the conversation last week about like we need recap packages to like tell you what's going on with people, and it was like, well, sometimes you need a recap video package and sometimes you don't. And this was a thing where it's like this was more effective than any recap package could ever have been.
Absolutely.
Do I think that like I was kind of like, yeah, you're saying all the stuff that if someone's watching you on screen every week, they should have been tracking this from, you know, your acting and the way that you approach stuff, whatever. But it's like this was a very effective recap that also told us things about you as a character that you couldn't get from just having someone explain what happened. Like, it's
totally.
I wish ever that when people who participate in a binary, either there's all video packages or no, like in any way reference to the past, would acknowledge the recap promo as an option, because I almost always would prefer it.
Yeah. Plus, it like, because it does have the character like saying what they feel about those things now too, which is also like could be different than how they felt at the time, you know. So it's like also serves to move the story along. It was funny too because he kept saying like, "Oh, and I did this terrible thing I'm ashamed of," and the crowd would just like cheer really loud. It's just like, you guys are not helping.
It's like, I had the worst 2 years of my life and I burned a man's house down.
Yeah, you did.
And so he ended up at the end of his promo, he like directly addressed Swerve and he said, "I will never forget what you did to me, and I will probably never forgive you for it. But for me, I will have to put it behind me," because he's pursuing the belt. Listen, this man I'm in love with this man. Okay? To say I will probably never forgive you is just like, it's so complicated in your brain about Swerve. It's so complicated. I'll never forget what you did, and I will probably never forgive you. Bitch!
Yeah.
It's so juicy. It's so juicy because it's like, I'm obsessed with the way that Hangman is like, you hurt me more than anybody else has ever hurt me, but you made me feel more than anybody else has ever made me feel. And I did things that I don't respect in myself, but I did them, and that's all tied up with you. And I don't know how to hate you without hating myself.
Yeah.
It's all so good. It's all so good.
Juicy. Yum, yum.
He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
He said he's going to wrestle Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing. Will Ospreay's music hits. He comes out, and he cuts a promo on Hangman that he starts by saying, "Sorry for interrupting your therapy session." No response. The crowd
no response.
Kind of love it when Hangman comes out and does his therapy sessions. That's our favorite thing.
Yeah, this is like, great for us.
Not a burn. It's like, wow, what an unsuccessful line.
Very funny. He ended up cutting this promo in which he mostly was kind of recapping Hangman's past few years, like from the perspective of the crowd and like him as a member of the crowd, kind of being like, these are the things that I saw you do and I saw you go through. I want to read this, what I thought was the funniest line. But I spotted something last week. Last week after you beat Kyle Fletcher, I and these people saw something we ain't seen from you in a very long time. You smiled again.
This is crazy. What a crazy thing to say.
You're so stupid. That's so sweet. You're so dumb. I thought you smiled again.
Insane thing to say about someone that like you're in a like starting a feud with, and the energy of every other part of that promo was like, and yet he smiled and it touched you.
Yeah. I mean, what did you think? So then he moved into another phase of the promo. What did you guys think of, like, just like, what were you tracking as you watched this about, like, Will Ospreay, the character, you know?
Well, that's the problem. So, like, I liked it in some ways because it really did feel, I don't know. I wish I could think of another word to say than respect, but, like, the way he was kind of being like, Hangman, it's nice to finally meet you. I've been aware of you for a long time. And in fact, I know all of the steps of your journey, and I have been watching you because all of this stuff has been so like compelling. Like, I felt like that was way more respectful and also like true to like Hangman's greatest art than just being like, yeah, you were a champion, and of course I respect champions. It was like, no, he respects him on a level deeper than that, which I really liked. Like, I really did like that. Yeah. But on the flip side, Hangman, like, he kind of recounted a lot of Hangman's journey, and I'm like, we all know Hangman's journey, like, especially, like, you know, the Hangman, like, girls, like,
it did feel a little bit like, Will Ospreay, we were there.
We were there. We lived that. But it was like, Will Ospreay, I'd actually love to hear this about you. Like, what's going on with you? Like, what I would kill for Will Ospreay to spin me. Like, even a retconny little thing where he's like, here's who I was in New Japan, and this is how I became who I am right now. Even if, you know, he's kind of like pulling threads that weren't necessarily there to begin with. Like, it would just be so like helpful right now if he was like, hey man, this is what's going on with me, which is why I'm reacting to you in this way. But he continued feeling like very deflecty, where I'm just like, I think I'm farther away from understanding where you are.
That's his own character note. That's where he wants us to be. He doesn't want us to get in there. He doesn't want us to get close.
I like totally agree. That was a huge problem. And it also felt very, honestly, like condescending to me, where Hangman kind of recapped where he is in his journey now and with the past year. And then Will Ospreay comes out and is like, hey, little buddy, I've been watching you this whole time. You did great. And now you're smiling again. Like, that's exciting. And I think part of it is just like Will Ospreay's like delivery. And I don't know, like in some ways, I think this was one of his better promos. But when he said, for me, it's a pleasure to meet the Hangman. And then he paused and gave him like significant eye contact. And I was like, what are we supposed to move it along?
I definitely don't think I took it like that at all. But I do see what you mean, where it is like, it is hard to be like, it's I think it's hard to deliver like, we've all been watching you without being like an
slow clap. Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
Right.
Well, and I think also like
judgment.
Yeah, and like having someone else recap your own life to you, like, is just kind of like, especially in as much detail as he did it. I just felt like, to me, the emotion it inspired in me was like I wanted Hangman to kind of punch him in the face. Like I found it very, especially once he transitioned into this whole like the meaner part and the yellier part where he was like, it's not about your redemption, it's about my ascension. And I was like, are they going kind of heel with him? Because like, I don't know, like the point of a wrestling promo is for me to want to watch them fight and to want one person to win, to beat the other person. And it's like, this promo set me up as an audience member to want Hangman to win, and I'm not sure that was the intent. No. And I think all of us have been assuming this whole time, like, that Hangman's going to lose to Ospreay, and then Ospreay's probably going to beat Mox. And I'm like, is it really setting that arc up for success for me to want Hangman to beat him very badly because he's being kind of annoying right now, you know?
This was a classic wrestling promo where I went on that similar journey where I was like, okay, your tone is a little weird. I think it might be helpful, Will Ospreay, if like as you're talking about what you've seen from Hangman, if you gave us a little of like what you were doing at that time, like how, you know, your own psyche that, you know, it was going on a journey kind of along with Hangman as a viewer or whatever. And then he gets to that back half and I spent the whole thing being like, this seems mean to me. Like, I definitely am just like, okay, rude, calm down. Yeah. He never did anything to you. But I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be. And I felt like if I had, like, you know, logged onto Twitter and seen 10 men tell me, like, wow, Will Ospreay really showed us his strength as a face in that promo, I would be like, yeah, of course they're saying that. Yeah, totally. And I just didn't get it, and I never will. I don't really know. No. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It just seemed like, but I think the thing is like, if this is part of Will Ospreay's journey to win the Owen and then win the belt, like this should be about Will Ospreay and not, they shouldn't make the whole thing about Hangman. It didn't feel like it was about Will Ospreay, which was very interesting. It felt, it was like Hangman is actually the focus of this storyline.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like I like that.
I know. Yeah, I like it, but it's crazy if the outcome that I'm assuming is going to happen is it like if Hangman wins and then wins against Mox or loses against, like if, you know, then it's fine. And if Will Ospreay's going to lose against Mox, I guess then it's kind of fine. But it's just like, where are we taking this? Because I think it's probably more incompetence.
Right. I don't know. Right. Yeah, I think they definitely, by Will Ospreay never really talking about his own journey and only talking about Hangman's, it's like, okay, so the story is, the match is about Hangman. And I know like people keep repeating it on the show now, but I'm like, yeah, that's why Hangman's main character, right? Like,
yeah. It's interesting for it to have broken the fourth wall.
And I was thinking that like, there are things that Will Ospreay could have like compared, because I'm pretty sure that Will Ospreay had a big title run, like a, you know, top guy title run in New Japan that didn't go fabulously like that. You know, he like, I think that like there were things that didn't like, it wasn't what he wanted. So there is like, I think similarities to Hangman that he could have pulled on to be like, both you and I want another shot at the title run that we think we can have. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah, and then he got mad at Hangman because of what he did to Jeff Jarrett, Christopher Daniels, and Ospreay's best friend Swerve, which is like, okay, I've seen no evidence of you caring about any of those people.
No, that was the point that I was like, Will Ospreay will pack bond with anything.
It's funny because it's like, I know that like you're shoot friends. I understand that. And I saw you one time that I remember together on screen happily celebrating the Opps win for some reason. I don't know why either.
It was confusing then, But.
Well, this is us being consistent because we didn't let FTR and Cope get away with it, and we're not letting Ospreay and Swerve get away with it. Mm-mm. You don't get to grab the mic and say we're best friends without showing us a friendship sequence.
Especially when earlier in the promo you mentioned your legit kayfabe best friend Kyle Fletcher, who betrayed you and didn't show a single emotion about it, my sweet boy. My sweet son. You said his name so happily. You didn't even hiss a little like, oh, it hurts even to mention him. You're just fine. You're just fine.
Yeah. And, like, what if Will Ospreay had come out and been like, I know you want the title, and, like, everyone acts like you're the main character, but I've got my own stuff going on, too. My best friend betrayed me, and, like, the title's really important to me, and I actually, like, I've been here working hard at AEW. Like, make me want you to win.
I would have killed for that if Will Ospreay had taken the tact of being like, okay, we all have stories.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, it's like,
we all have sob
we're all
stories,
the main
okay?
character of our own lives. Hangman Adam Page.
We're all backstage crying about our things that have happened, okay?
Well, instead of being like, of course, Hangman, we're all backstage crying about things that have happened to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, let's move towards the. Quick pause. This is a flash topic. Hair and outfit. Hair and outfit. I heard you got some flack from Big Dave.
I did, shockingly. Yeah,
I know.
I didn't know Big Dave could see clothes.
Well,
I didn't either. Yeah, especially on Ospreay.
I think Big Dave ended up walking some of it back in a weird way too. I think if I understood the drama right, that originally he was like, yeah, Will Ospreay did not look like a star. True. He should have been wearing a suit. False.
Nope.
Well, he actually didn't say. He said the Hurt Business look like stars more wearing suits, and then he said not everybody needs to wear a suit. I did watch the clip.
Nice.
What he did that activated everyone is he said one thing that WWE does well that AEW does badly is if you want to be a top guy, you should present yourself like a star. If he had just said, if Will Ospreay wants to be a top guy, he should present himself as a star. I'm like, well, indisputably true. Does Swerve come out of here looking like trash?
Yeah,
you should make your point. Yeah, make your point that you made earlier. And you said it so smart earlier. Say it again.
Make your good point.
Oh, you guys. No, I was just saying that, every time Swerve comes out, he looks like a huge deal and a big star, and he clearly puts a lot of effort into his presentation, and it really fits with his character. And you have people like Darby who also clearly, put a lot of thought into their presentation, and, it makes sense with who they are, and they don't come out looking like Laundry Day, and they don't come out I wrestle real good, so it doesn't matter, because, being a pro wrestler means you're supposed to have a flamboyant character. There's a fashion component. You are supposed to be presenting yourself like you're on television, not this is what was clean, so I threw it on.
Right. That outfit was kind of crazy, though, because the socks were pulled all the way up, over the bottom, over the cuffs of the sweatpants. The sweatpants were the strangest fitting because in some places they seemed straight, tapered, and then around the butt they were very baggy. Also, I think he had something a Kindle or something in his cargo pocket. That
if it was a phone, it was a very large phone.
With him,
it was a big phone. It was there was something in his pocket that was a big square.
Yeah, and I was
iPhone Pro Plus.
What
if I learned that Will Ospreay was walking around with a Kindle in his pocket? That would change everything for me. That would be the emergency pod.
Will Ospreay can read?
I was, and I do want to just want to say, this is I'm looking through the screen to Will Ospreay, wherever you are. What did someone say to you about your hair? What happened?
Oh my God.
What did someone say to you? Or is it, you have to stop straightening.
You can't.
Your beautiful hair. You have lovely curls, but I need you to reach inwards and realize that if you continue down this path, you will have hair like Kenny someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know your hero,
careful.
Kenny.
Gotta treat it right.
Do you want to look like that?
Yeah. Look at what you're wearing. Look at your hair. You're on a Kenny Omega path right now.
Kenny Omega is a poodle with permanent mats. You don't want that to be you. Okay? Just embrace your curl. Learn to take care of it. Learn what it needs. Stop straightening it. It's strange. It's very strange. Although
this time too, he had pulled it back, kind of the way he had done it. His forehead was 10 times larger than it normally looks.
Yeah.
Okay, but
there was a camera shot where the camera was to the over Hangman's shoulder and pointing at Ospreay, and they were both looking off in the distance. And I was like, this is such a bad angle because these are two very prominently browed men, and Ospreay's hair was not helping with that.
Something did just occur to me, though. I do think that he looks more evil when he straightens his hair. So if they're leaning into a heel vibe, then actually that was good. And I take back my criticisms. But just make sure that you're using a heat protectant. So
it's true. Honestly, if the outfit and hair were a heel presentation, it could work. You just have to go broader with it. You got to go full Young Buck, you know? You can't go halfway where you look like just a dude. You've got to look crazy.
Ham it up.
Right.
Do you want that? Do you want that Mommy's Little Ham award or not? He's like, I've never heard of it, and I don't
guy.
I don't want to be a top guy. Okay, so their face-off got interrupted by the Callis family. They came out. Don Callis cut this promo where he said, Ospreay, every day you show me how stupid you are. The stupidest day of your life was when you left the Don Callis family. And just to prove how stupid you are, do you know who you're standing in the ring with? A violent, mentally unstable sociopath who put his mentor in the retirement home and can't walk. Hangman is so upset that he's starting to lunge for Don Callis. Ospreay holds him back. He does have an impulse towards friendship, as we've known. And then Ospreay hops on the mic and is just like, "Oh, you come say that to my face, Don Callis. You sent 2 of your guys down here and me and Hank." And then I don't know if it was because the crowd was chanting "fuck Don Callis" or because I think that was it. But the kayfabe character thing seemed to be that for a moment he was like, should I say that? I guess maybe not. But then he immediately was like, no, I'll definitely say it. Hanger and I would love to fight 2 guys. And Hangman's like, Hanger would not love to fight 2 guys with you. Hanger is fight you. But Don Callis had pounced on this moment of weakness and was like, 2 of my guys will fight you guys next week if you can make it there. Yeah. Which was interesting. What do you think about I think we've already gotten into it, a little bit. I think mostly we're just we don't really know what these narrative arcs are anymore,
right.
Maybe.
Right.
They aren't.
Yeah. They
seem to not be quite what people had been discussing or expecting, which actually personally I find quite fun. I like sometimes to feel like, wow, what the hell are we doing here? This is interesting. This could go anywhere.
I know. Tagging together is one of those things when they have rivals do it where I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll be fun, but it's not my favorite way to build a feud.
I like it when the 2 people aren't sure of their dynamic together, because then you get a sort of thing where it's sometimes they're they end up catching friendly fire. They have a, mid-match fight about how to handle something, and then it ends up feeding the rest of the feud, and that can get interesting. But if it's just we hated each other going in and hated each other coming out, then it's boring. I think Hangman and Ospreay could have because they're both so good. I mean, for all of Ospreay's other faults, he's very good at in-match.
He is,
making a match interesting. So I have a feeling that they are going to do something that ends up fueling future stuff. So I have a good hope for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the match will be fun for sure. I think this promo didn't give me confidence that they have that Ospreay specifically doesn't have a good handle on what their dynamic is between the 2 of them, so it'll be interesting to see.
Hangman, couldn't you give him just a little character sheet to fill out? I know you can find some. You know how to use teacher websites, just make him a little handout and just help him work through it and be like, this is what we're going to try and get across about you, bud. Because we just want to know who you are.
That tweet that was going around about the Young Bucks back in PWG, someone was like, the first time I had a match against the Young Bucks backstage, they met with me and they were like, what do you do well that we can highlight? I think when Hangman has a promo, he should meet with somebody backstage and be like, what is the biggest flaw you have that we can really dig into? I'll highlight that for you.
And I did feel, it's if they had been in the kind of promo where Hangman was going to get another round, he would have done it. You know what I mean? He always does. Hangman has never promoted on someone and not been paying very careful attention to who he thinks they are as a character and what he can say about that. So, and then another complicating element is that later in the show, Ospreay had a backstage interview with Renee that got interrupted by MJF. MJF had already spent some airtime peacocking for the Hurt People by beating up Top Flight, something we won't be discussing. I will try to just transcribe this. I didn't. The gist was that MJF was feel free to try and get that world championship. It's mine, and it'll be really easy to beat you once you have it. And Ospreay was not to be the second person this week to say this, but your plan seems really bad. I just kind of don't get what you're doing. And MJF was you're so fucking dumb. And then was I'm on the level of the devil catchphrase and tried to leave. And then Ospreay reached out, grabbed him, and yanked him back into frame, and achieved a level of erotic intensity that I wasn't expecting at all.
No. And Ospreay has not shown that before.
Listen, depth of intensity, it's like you didn't get there with Hangman, which few can say. Most get there with Hangman.
Right.
And then he did his catchphrase about how he's on another level. They both have level catchphrases. That's fun. And I thought, what's all this about?
I know. It like makes me so nervous because I'm mad at MJF and I don't really want him to do anything in that Owen final. Like, I don't want a fuck finish.
No, I certainly don't.
So the fact that he keeps talking to Hangman and Ospreay is like, what are we doing?
I know. I had a very similar thing where I was like, I don't actually want you involved in this. I'm mad at you, and actually I need you to stay in feuds that I can comfortably ignore until I can get over it, because I'm just so annoyed at you right now.
Yeah.
But I think weirdly enough, Ospreay did a better job with MJF than he did with Hangman.
He did.
Because I really liked the thing where MJF came in hard and was like, that's my championship and I'm going to get it back. And Ospreay was like, then why didn't you fucking participate in the Owen, you douchebag? Seems like you're not that serious about it, and I don't have to take you seriously. That ruled.
I did love, I think, Leah, you had the in-the-moment reaction in our group chat of being like, okay, MJF isn't allowed to call Will Ospreay dumb. Only we're allowed to call Will Ospreay dumb. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's like that's actually our sweet boy. Of course, he's very stupid, but...
You are not saying it complimentary, so therefore, shut the fuck up.
Shut your hole. Yeah, I don't know. I felt nervous, but... You know, again, it's like I'm always kind of interested if it's like in the early stages of like, now where is this going? And I want to know. I think it's good to kind of want to know. I wish it weren't MJF, obviously, but I don't know. I'm scared, but I'm interested. And for a girl with anxiety, that could be worse, you know? Anything else you want to say about kind of the world title picture heading into the summer, I guess?
I don't know. My thing about the Owen is that, and even the Deathriders and all of the speculation about who might win, is I just want to have a nice summer. Yeah. We are going to All In. I want to enjoy being at All In. I want to see things that entertain me. I don't necessarily need Hangman to win the Owen. I don't necessarily need... I mean, I don't think I'm as mad at the Deathriders as other people are. I mean, they haven't been very interesting, but also they haven't been on TV that much.
No,
and so, like, haven't been, to be honest, I mean, they're not offensive right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're not making a
segment
about misogyny.
They haven't had a single misogyny, so actually...
Right.
They're moving up the ranks.
They're the least of my problems when it comes to the show.
I agree.
So I think some people's both what they think is going to happen and the worst case scenario at the same time is that Mox holds the belt until Darby comes back in the fall. And I'm like, the thing is that like if you continue doing something else that is interesting, that also gets a large chunk of time, which they have been currently doing with Hangman, then I'm not that mad about it. Like my biggest priority simply is that the things that I'm watching are interesting. I don't actually care about the win-loss record. So I don't know. I just keep being like, Tony, you can do whatever stupid stuff you want with the belt as long as the rest of the show is entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Deathriders really, like, the amount of time they take, it's like, I really have no beef with them particularly. It's like, they're not good, but they really don't bother me. No. And, like, I really don't give a shit who has the title. Like, I feel like in terms of, like, Ospreay winning or whatever, it's like, I am totally willing for Ospreay to have the belt. Like, I do not give a shit. And I'm shocked they haven't given... Like, I think they've done well in not giving it to him so far.
That's true.
Actually.
They've been sitting there not eating their marshmallow for 2 years
for 2 years. Yeah. So it's like totally... I feel like it's a very appropriate time frame for Ospreay to get the title. It's like this summer. I feel like this setup with this promo going the way it does, and then him taking a run at Mox, who was like the AEW originals were at, it's like, this is crazy, though. This would be a crazy way for him to get a belt. Yeah, so it's just like, And again, it's like, I'm not even that mad about it. It's just like, I don't think you guys are setting him up for success.
Yeah.
And he needs a lot of help.
Right.
That.
Well, that's,
so like, he's a great wrestler. Like, and I like him, but it's like storytelling and promos are not his strengths. Do we have the
resources to support him at this time?
Right.
You're not even willing to pay Caption Max. Like, are you going to get him like a creative writing tutor? Like,
right. I mean, that's really real though, because at the world title holder, and this is true in the women's division too, has to be kind of the tent pole that other people come up to and like shelter under, and so it's like, I don't like if you.
Which hasn't been the case with the Deathriders, actually. So you can see what happens when that doesn't work,
Right.
Which is like another which is another problem right now, because it's like Ospreay needs a good tent pole to come up against, and like Mox a year ago would have been fine, but Mox right now isn't.
Which
helpful.
I think is basically our reservations about Ospreay winning right now. Is I'm like, I don't think that the Mox disinterested summer is gonna put him in a good place. I would love to see him up against, like, could we time travel and like grab Mox from 2000?
I wish we could. I was just the other day thinking I wish that we had the technology to do time travel storylines in wrestling, because I think they could change the game.
Oh yeah.
But we don't have the technology.
Oh, but like it's almost, I actually think it would be dangerous, because I know that these fucking men would use it so that they could fight Andre the Giant or something.
Jesus
like they
Christ.
would not.
It's true. Every week we tune in and be like, we have the ability to see all of the horniest things imaginable, and it would just be like, and it's me versus Bret Hart, and it's just like,
I can't watch
TV
another
off.
time travel Bret Hart match. God damn it! You're like, you could use this technology to go back in time and kill Hitler, but no, you're fighting Bret Hart again. Okay.
The technology. Tony only paid a witch to do it for wrestling. She was like, I can't in good conscience do a spell that would allow you to kill Hitler, but if it's just for your little wrestling matches, that's fine. Yeah, sure, that's fine. I want to say one thing before we move on from this, and I just want to say it because I don't think it'll bring many joy to hear this, but as a woman with limited object permanence, the longer that I don't see that belt that's in the briefcase, the more I start to forget that the AEW World Championship belt exists. And if it stays in that briefcase for another 6 months, it will leave my mind completely. I'll just be like, there's no such thing as an AEW Men's World Champion. It doesn't exist. There never has been.
The top belt is the TNT belt.
It's a TNT
is it not?
belt. Yeah. So that's just something. I mean, I don't really know who I want to keep that in mind, but I just want to put the experience out there. Like for women like me, that belt is becoming increasingly. It's in the where the cat is. You know, the cat. Schrodinger's cat. It's in Schrodinger's box with Schrodinger's cat, and one day we could open that box and there's nothing there. There's nothing there except a dead cat. Let's move on to what's going on in the women's division. Toni Storm fought Lady Frost on Collision and won, and then cut just like an absolute wackadoo banger of a promo in which she... It's like you can't really summarize it. Should I read it? I mean, I don't...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's like when you read it, like, written out, you're like, she's just a genius.
She's right.
It's incredible.
She said, this whore you all adore, this slut you can't rebut, this tramp is still the champ. And my God, what a frosty little slop tart. Now, I know there's a fresh batch of slop tarts back there trying to take a shot at this wide load that holds the gold. Yes, that's right. Everyone's coming for Toni Storm, but you've got it all wrong, darling. Toni Storm comes for everybody. So if your tits can take the hits, then I'm not a hard woman to find. I could be right here. I could be over here. She's like running around. I could be here. I could be next to this man. I could be next to this man. And then she burst through. They were at the Masonic Temple Theater or something. This is these smaller venues that they've been doing. Please keep doing them.
They're so good.
The visual interest is so much higher than when they do the big stadiums. Like, I never want to see the fucking Target Center again.
Yeah,
I love these weird little venues.
with the balconies and the ornate stuff.
Yeah. So she bursts.
Even the backstage is more interesting.
It's so fun. It's like, it just feels like, you really feel like I am in a different place this week than when they go to the stadiums. It's like all stadiums are the same, kind of.
Yeah.
So she bursts out on the balcony and she says, I'm going to be right here on this bloody broad walk, I guess. I don't know. And one thing I know for sure is I will be ready. I will be sweaty. I am here and I am queer and I will always be timeless. And I love her. You know what?
Incredible.
I felt really moved and invigorated by it, which I didn't fully expect to be. I don't know. I really was just like, oh my God, Toni Storm, I love you. Yeah. I love you.
She's the only one saying, I don't even mean the pervert stuff, just being constantly willing to say what she wants to say and not be worried about. And I felt like the timing, especially where WWE had released a bunch of queer wrestlers. And so she was just middle finger, you know?
Yeah.
Man, I really like her, and
I really like her so much, and I would not have predicted this when she was Rocker Tony. I really wouldn't. But now I'm I straight up would die for her.
And you
I know
what?
She's so confident and so funny, so consistently. It's amazing.
Yeah, she just totally fucking delights me. All right. Anna Jay and Harley Cameron had a couple of backstage segments together this week, including one on Dynamite. Where they were being perverts as well. Everyone's getting in on the perversion these days.
I really
Toni
think so.
Storm cracked that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Women innuendo.
And it just slime rained down. And I'm so sorry. Maybe bleep that. I don't know.
I know that Anna Jay has been doing that fat ass stuff for a while, but it has always felt a little bit more talking herself up, whereas this felt much more like her and Harley passing a baton back and forth, and it was just so fun, and they were trying to pop each other more than they were that concerned with us, and I liked it so much. It made both of them seem very loose and fun, and I was just this is great.
It was quite sweet. It was a little funny, in the content. Tony's way of doing this kind of body humor is I really love that she'll just come out, say 17 insane, inappropriate sexual things and not pause for a second between them to be did you get that? So it's just people commentary, just sometimes getting them, sometimes not, and constantly being I'm trying to keep up with you. This was so funny to me because there's a little more intro level where they have this back and forth that was I have the T and you have the A, the tenacity and the aggression. And the tits and ass. And I'm Anna Jay, we all know the tits and ass.
You didn't actually have to explain that.
You just move on and we know it and it's funny, but in such a happy, sweet way where I'm I just love you. Yeah. I think you're so fun and I want the best for you always. And you guys had a really great energy. I'm excited for you to be working together.
Totally. And Anna Jay is always stilted, and she was a little stilted in this one, but I think this is really loosening her up. And it's I hope they have a bunch of promos together, because I think it'd be really good for her to get a little more confidence in speaking.
Yeah, because Harley is just so easy that I think she's a good person for somebody to work with that, might be a little bit. But it did crack me up, because do you think that Harley has a little bit of the Will Ospreay, I'll be friends with anyone deal? It just feels like Harley's backstage being who's doing a promo? Do you want a friend? Do you want company? I'll just come hang out with you. Do you want a tag partner? Do you need someone to second you in your match? I'll go with anybody.
Honestly, a vibe that makes sense for someone who is a ventriloquist, you know?
It's you need any puppets in your act? I think I'm happy that I get to keep seeing her. I like it.
Yeah.
Anna had a 4-way championship eliminator match versus Toni Storm, Penelope Ford, and Thunder Rosa on Dynamite. Toni won that. Megan Bayne came out in the middle of the match and caused some havoc. I don't think I have anything else to say about that. But you guys are welcome to if you do.
I didn't really. I thought that the Megan Bayne stuff kind of I was why is this happening? And I got confused for a minute where I was she wasn't always in this match. No, she just came out.
I think you did at one point say something, but I was following so badly that I didn't even follow why you were confused. I was I don't know who's there. I have no idea who's here right now.
I think she did that so they could give cover for the other 3 girls to lose without like looking weak. But sometimes I'm just like, well, you could just lose though. That's not that big a deal.
Well, I always think it's stupid that everybody is so concerned about looking weak or whatever. It's like, oh, you're play fighting make believe. Okay,
I know. Well, and I'm kind of like in that group. It's like Penelope, Anna, and Thunder Rosa. It's like, well, you all.
It's like they could all take the pin. Of course, you're all going to lose
to Tony. So it's like, everyone expects it. Don't worry about it. Jamie Hayter had a sit down with Renee on Dynamite, in which she said that she doesn't have Mercedes' resume, so it's hard to know whether to hire her. I don't even remember I don't even remember what she said that made me make that joke.
She said that she didn't have Mercedes' resume, which she meant like I don't have the like credentials that she has, but it was just like you left it in your office. There was a pivotal pause afterwards where it was like, oh, and why did you need it? Like what? What were you gonna do with it? We have a printer. We can still print it out if you wanted a hard copy. I think she was just basically being like, actually, I'm a little confused. She wants to know the real Mercedes, and she wants to be acknowledged as a contender like her, and I don't know, seen as a viable opponent, I guess. And then Mercedes interrupted to beat her up, and this was fun because again, we're at the Masonic Temple Theater, and so we're already in a room with cool armchairs, which is so much better than when you're in one of those weird back rooms where they just had to drag some folding chairs.
It's like a folding chair and like one
blocks,
stained couch.
It felt like,
or they have to build like an office worker terrarium with no door.
I forgot. Oh my god.
Yeah. I love AEW.
Yeah, but it's perfect. Hey, it's perfect company in some ways. So it already is great, and then the fight spills out onto like a balcony, and so it's like, I mean, it's Shakespearean, like
looked great.
And I wanted to say that's kind of what I thought was happening when I went to the bathroom that one time at my show, and then I thought that Swerve and Hangman had like fought in front of everybody. That's what I imagined, is that they would get to be on a balcony, and it was like for a moment like framed, like, oh, there they are, and then they go away again. And it's not what happened in my show, but it is what happened here. What do you guys think about like Jamie's whole deal right now?
I don't know. And I was listening to ONR this week, and James was saying something like that it's hard to take Jamie seriously right now as a contender because she hasn't really done much. And I was like, yeah, it's like hard because I think like there's a lot of very loud personalities in the women's division right now. Like Toni and Mercedes are both loud in a very specific way. Like, and Willow and Chris are so distinctive at this point that it's hard. Like it's hard to stand out. And how Jamie has chosen to stand out is her 70s aesthetic, which is cool, but at a certain point, it does start, like, you're like, well, you need something else, too. Yeah. And I think that there was something in this that she could have pulled on, but I don't know, where she was kind of like, well, the thing is that, like, Mercedes, you're nothing but catchphrases and, like, glitz and glitter and, like, who the fuck are you? Like, what is your deal? And that's interesting, I think, to a certain level, especially when you say it to like a heel where it's like, yeah, I see all of the illusions that you're like throwing up to keep people from seeing who you really are, but I can see it and you're just a scared little girl. Like that's a fun thing to say, but I think you kind of have to say it from a position of knowing what your deal is, and I don't really think that Jamie is clear on that.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a very dangerous thing. It's an incredibly interesting thing to say if you're a hangman, and a very dangerous thing to say if you yourself have not given people something to dig into about your character.
Especially because Jamie's got her own illusions up with like the Scooby-Doo thing where I'm like, you are also don't want people to look at that clothes. You want them to look at the dress and the aesthetics rather than
which would be interesting to lean into.
If like if it was like
if you're like my 70s vibe is so dramatic to distract from the fact that I'm a scared little girl. I feel like Jamie, like before she went out, like she was really, really over, and it feels sad to me that she's not now, but it's like she got over because she was really good at wrestling and has a great ass. And
amen, sister.
And unfortunately, in the year she was out, the women's division has really improved. And so, like, being good at wrestling is not really enough to carry you.
Don't you think that before she was out, she got over because of her story with Britt?
Yeah.
I mean, for all that Britt, has kind of crashed out.
Bring that much to it, though, personality-wise.
No, but it was the same thing that happened with Wardlow, right? Like, Wardlow got hugely over because of his thing with MJF.
Yeah.
And then when he became the TNT belt holder, he kind of crashed out because there was nothing left. Jamie just didn't even have that option because she got hurt so quickly. So it's like, if she hadn't gotten hurt, would she have found a new thing, or would she have Wardlowed? I don't know. But she's kind of Wardlowing now.
She's Wardlowing now for sure. And I feel like there is this like genre of person in AEW who's very good in ring, but doesn't bring a lot else to the table. And it's like, unfortunately, AEW has a pretty deep bench, so you really need to bring the other elements of pro wrestling to the table.
I know, but like Jamie can talk. You know how like first of all, I would die for Chris, but you know how Chris can't talk. Like I love her so much. Yeah. She's so terrible at it.
She's doing her best.
Awkward. Yeah,
and she's come a long way.
She's come a long way. I would die for her. I love her so much.
Can't talk. Yeah,
can't talk. But Jamie actually can. It's just that a lot of times they're directionless. So it is sort of like.
Chris has a much more specific personality than Jamie does, even though she's not as good at communicating.
Jamie needs to sit down with somebody to be like, okay, loop all of this together. I'm going to write a list of everything I know about you, and then we're going to come up with the glue that puts everything into a cohesive like whole.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Hangman, that handout that you printed out for Will Ospreay, let's just get one of the interns, to run down to the copier, run off a couple hundred of them, and we'll just pass those out. And I want everybody doing their handout this week. Okay?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No ChatGPT. No, gotta write it on paper.
My God, it's gotta be handwritten. And honestly, I'm like, lock them in a room without computers. Like, Tony,
take their phones away.
Do pen and paper. Kind of retreat weekend. No Wi-Fi, no phones, no ChatGPT. Sit them down with their handouts, and then they're doing improv the rest of the
week. They're gonna love it.
I ran the zoo. And then finally, we got a Willow and Chris interaction that is leading to a match next week. The gist of it was that Willow was, do you like that I just said unpack together?
No, it was completely fine. I was just thinking about how funny this promo was.
Very strange. In some ways, it started out as exactly what I wish everybody would do. Willow is having a backstage interview. Chris comes out and is like, I want to talk to you. Willow's like, I don't want to talk to you. Chris is like, I'm well aware of that because you won't talk to me, but let's just do it on camera. If you won't talk to me in the locker room, then you have to talk to me on camera. And Willow is like, I'm not talking to you. Push her away. And Chris is like, fucking fine, goes to leave. Willow brings her back. I'm with them completely up to this point. I'm just like, I love what's happening. And then what happened? A demon got in these girls.
Willow all of a sudden smiled and softened and said, Chris, come on back here. Hey, instead of talking, what if we did a little fight?
Hey, what if we fought? Should we be bad?
Should we? Should we get some mozzarella sticks and fight?
And I think it was like the spirit of Mommy's Little Ham. Matt Jackson entered both of them at a really inopportune moment. And they both just went into like crazed ham mode where it's like, wow, if we aren't going to talk, then I guess we better fight next week. And Chris was like, I guess we better. And then they're going to fight next week. And it was like, girls, what energy do you think we got from that image? Like, it's like the energy was that you've been like tricking us this whole time and actually like you've been fucking or something. Like it's like you're like, we're actually fine. We've been playing a little trick on all of you.
You know how like Jimmy Kimmel or like, whatever, sometimes they'll do sketches where like the celebrity will start a scene one way and then like they'll ring a bell and be like, now do it like a 1920s flapper. Somebody did that off stage where they were like, you're so mad at each other and you're not talking and you're aggressive. And then like halfway through the promo they rang a bell and they were like, now you're secret best friends and you won't tell anybody because you're afraid you're gonna get caught that way.
But
and
everybody can tell anyway because neither of you is good at keeping a secret. It's funny because if it had been like a live promo, I would have been like, they got, I would just be like, oh, you got the giggles in the middle of that because you're friends. I get it. It happens to the best of us. It was a pre-tape, so it was like, I think we could have done another take. I do think we could have done another take. Love him so much. Very happy to watch him fight.
Of course.
I think maybe if we had stayed in that first mode for the back half of the promo, that's what I would have preferred. But love you to death, girls.
Love you so much.
Love you so much.
Deranged.
All right. We didn't watch Collision, so I had to watch. I had to read the recap to try and figure out what happened with the Deathriders over there, and it's pretty unclear. Mox seems to have gotten 2 separate promo segments. I think one was a pre-tape in which... Did we know that Shibata got beaten up by a Deathrider?
Hard to say.
Yeah, okay, none of us know, so that's fine. Don't worry about that. Shibata did, though. And so Mox was being like, guess everyone's going to die like Shibata if you keep this up. And this recap, Shibata's fate was sealed. Moxley finds it hard to dislike Joe. His reputation is beyond reproach, very Regency. Sort of like Bryan Danielson. But none of this is in quotes. It's like, that. So that's what he said? And why was he bringing up Bryan Danielson? Now, what did you mean by that? Okay. And then Mox said he loves getting locked in cages with men or something. And then Samoa Joe said that he was going to fight Claudio to avenge Shibata. And then that was his promo. And then Mox got an in-ring promo where he said some more stuff that I didn't fully understand about how he said, I wonder who said this. You think he doesn't want to get in a firefight? Who was the he, do you think? Just look at your partners, Joe. You've been in a firefight this whole time. Well, what does that mean?
This new AEW recap thing is going to be the death of us. Because if you thought we sounded stupid before, now enjoy unclear pronouns and no quotations.
I can't.
Yeah. Plus, like, the way Mox is talking, it's like he literally could have said all of this verbatim.
That's
like,
so
it's hard
true.
to say.
So true. I'm fucking begging All Elite Wrestling. I just know you just look in the couch cushions and find a couple of nickels. Tony Khan, you are a billionaire. Pay for it out of your own pocket. I can't do this. You cannot be having... I mean, I'm sorry to offend. If a real person is doing these, I'm very sorry to offend you right now, although I'm not that sorry because I'm very angry at you. If you are having someone use ChatGPT to do these, it is not only immoral, unethical, and makes you a fucking idiot, okay? But it is ruining my life. Mine.
It's unusable. Who do you put these recaps up for? It's for people who missed the show to understand what happened.
They want to know
and
what
you're not
happened.
Doing that.
I can't do this. I need you to pay Caption Max $1,000 a week. That's it. I'm sure it only costs that. Please.
It's chump change.
Please. That's all. Okay, so that's what happened. Oh, and then Claudio and Samoa Joe they main evented. I mean, it's crazy that they main evented. I'll say that because what I said as I was watching it, I said I can't take this seriously. This is like that fight scene in Crazy Stupid Love, where it's a bunch of middle-aged men who don't know how. I don't know how. I understand they're professional wrestlers, but somehow the vibe they were giving was like, I've never touched another man's body in violence before. I'm just doing my best.
Sometimes I do feel like technical graps, real graps, can verge into a boy fight territory pretty easily. Because it's not the first time I've seen it.
No.
And it's like, is this a slap fight? It's kind of turning into like Bridget Jones's Diary when Mark Darcy and Hugh Grant get into it, where you're just like, well...
It's not. I think it's not ideal maybe for people to end your show the final match hits, the showstopper hits. We all immediately are like, okay, I'm checking out mostly mentally. I'm not really going to watch this. And then we spend the whole thing being like, I guess it's pretty fun comedy though. I guess it's fun that they're doing a little boy fight, a little slap fight. It's fun that neither of them has ever fought before, but they're doing it for the first time live on Dynamite right now.
just took some dads out of the crowd and threw them in the ring. So let's see what you got. Yeah.
Watch someone tell us tomorrow, like, it's like Dave Meltzer just gave this 7 stars.
Match of the year.
Match of the year. The Young Bucks and Okada. No. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, someone in our channel was like, my wife heard about what the main event was and could not have gone to bed faster. And I was like, yeah, the second they came out, I put the show on my phone and went to the bathroom to brush my teeth for bed.
The vibe was truly like, my chores are done. My chores are all done.
I'd be like, well, I won't be watching this for sure.
The Young Bucks and Okada had a backstage segment with Ricochet, who was eagerly begging to prove that he can contribute valuable information and skills to their team. He said, I fought Swerve before. I'm so good at fighting. I'm like, I think you're already scheduled for the match. I don't know. Yeah, you'll be there. Don't worry about it.
Maybe they didn't have his resume, you know?
The energy in that promo was so fucking deranged because Ricochet was like, boys, I know that you weren't ready to let me be the middleman last week, but I really think I'm feeling this week. I think we're feeling good. We're going to have great feeling. And like Matt and Nick were kind of looking at him like, it's not a no. It's not a no. Let me keep thinking, definitely.
And it's like, they don't have any other, it's like no other man is coming out with you. Like, it's like you want to just take Ricochet's face between your hand and be like, it is going to be you. Like, it's not like there isn't really another option, but they know that he doesn't understand that. So it's like, we'll just keep him in suspense until we're about to go out.
Well, it's that where they're like, it is going to be him because no one else is really asking. But it is also like, to me, it felt like Matt was like looking over Ricochet's shoulder, like, is there anybody? No? Oh, no. I mean, if he is it, then he'll be it. But is anyone else around?
You've got to keep your options open. Matt Jackson, this Julie Cooper top with the pearls and the zebra print that I looked even lower cut this week. But I don't think it was lower cut, but he was push-up brawling his boobs.
Yeah, the effect of him crossing his arms and pushing his tits together looked so
indecent,
good,
erotic,
absolutely indecent,
insane.
Yeah, it was like, I hope he's using some garment tape on his nips to hold that in place, you know?
I was just imagining little X's over it, like in case this. But then it's also just so great. For some reason, just like the level of animation and because he was doing the push-up bra thing, like to then like look over it, like Nick who's talking to the camera, and Nick has just been like, no V-neck for me, please. It'll be a very normal, just round neckline for me, and I won't really want to. I'm not really wanting to be showing my boobie. Thank you.
It's true. Although his top also had like a very feminine energy to it.
It is a girl's neckline also, but it's like a more demure girl's neckline.
Absolutely. It's a modest girl.
It's a modest girl's neckline.
The girl went to Christian school,
Matt Jackson went to Christian school. Okay.
Well, there's 2 types of girls that go to Christian school, okay?
I can't wait for you to get canceled for that one. But I went to Catholic school myself, so I like it very much. Great promo. The Bucks turn around to enter their dressing room. The Deathriders are in there waiting for them. I actually don't know exactly, but Matt said something like, okay, what are you guys here for? Let's talk. Like,
I made this face like, oh boy.
I'm obsessed. I really want to interview people. Like, I want to be like on the street being like, now what did you get from that interaction? Because Matt did almost like a cartoon, like, ooh, I was nodding. This is coming to a head now.
I didn't even bring out their resume.
Well, we might as well get it over with. And the Deathriders were also sitting in like very dim lighting.
Yeah.
It wasn't
intense
quite dark,
lighting.
but it was very dim. And I was like, so were you guys just silently sitting in the almost dark, waiting for the Young Bucks to stop flirting with Ricochet? Like,
it is funny to think about them sitting there. They like adjusted the lighting. They got it perfect. Yeah. It's menacing. It's dim. And then they had to sit there for like 2 hours because they didn't know when he was coming in. You know?
It was giving musical theater. It was giving at any second they're going to start doing a song from West Side Story. Like, you know.
Absolutely.
Which I love.
Yeah. Honestly, like the gangs in West Side Story, that is kind of the vibe of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't actually
cops.
watched the Spielberg West Side Story, but I saw some clips from it recently, and I actually was captivated. I mean, I was taken away. I'll be watching the film. I will be
Was
watching
it aesthetically good?
It was aesthetically good, but also it was just like, I think I had a moment where I was like, God, I love musical theater. they're dancing and it's choreographed. I just love it. What can I say? And that's why I watched professional wrestling. We got a trios match between Young Bucks, Ricochet, and Mark Briscoe, Mike Bailey, and Swerve Strickland. Yet another party match. I think.
But first, you need to say with the entrance that Ricochet did get the middleman. Yeah. Ricochet got the middleman. He was clearly so fucking psyched.
Yeah.
It's gotta feel so good.
Probably scared too, but fun.
He should be scared. Like, I am like afraid.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, is this like overconfidence that you think you're going to be the one, or do you not know about their Black Widow tendencies?
He might. Maybe he doesn't know.
He was in WWE for a lot of that time. He might
attention.
not know. I'm like, Ricochet, you're in danger.
Someone's pulling him aside and being like, they've had 10 husbands. You want to know where those husbands are now? And Ricochet's like, probably very happy, and I can't wait to be the 11th.
That's why he doesn't know. Before this podcast started, we talked about how men are terrible at gossiping and they don't know what's important to tell people.
Yeah, nobody's told him.
Right. You are
What
right.
the fuck?
Crack
All right,
the
guys,
case.
somebody has got to tell Ricochet what's happened to their previous husbands.
Take some responsibility socially.
He wouldn't listen. He would just be, he would tune it out and then just be like, what were you talking about?
But at least you would have done your
That's
duty,
true.
you know?
It's like, if you want to prove that you're a good citizen, tell Ricochet that he's going to get Black Widowed. He needs to know. He's on a roller coaster. He doesn't even know it. He's just like, he's never heard of a roller coaster. So he's just like, so exhilarating. I think this thing goes up forever.
Yeah, he's like, wow, we're really climbing and climbing at such like a sedate pace, and it's so comfortable.
Mature and comfortable.
Ricochet, once it gets to that top, you're not going to like what happens next.
Oh my God. Extremely fun match. In the middle of this match, I suddenly was just like, did we have a single party match on TV in the 6 months that the Young Bucks were gone? I fear perhaps not.
I really don't think so. I really think the answer is no, which is crazy.
And then I was like, does anyone else know how to do a party match?
Well, that's why I'm like,
anyone around here
at a chicken's house?
And when you said that,
know how to have fun?
I kind of was like, oh, is that why Tony bought these new action figures? Because he's like, the Young Bucks were gone for 6 months, and it turns out nobody fucking noticed how to do a party match. So now we've got some party boys.
I need a big crew of party boys.
Party people.
Yeah, I mean, there were just hardly any tag or trios matches in that time, which is kind of wild.
I know it.
Well, it's great to have them. I mean, to get this kind of party match, a Memphis style match. And thank you. Some of you did say, I think what I gathered was that it was right. Maybe I didn't say it on the podcast, but after the podcast, I found someone being like, it's funny that Jim Cornette hates like X, Y, and Z type spots so much because like he was a Memphis wrestling guy, and that's exactly what they would have done in Memphis wrestling. So he would love it if it were there, but he doesn't love it here. So what I understand is that perhaps it is Memphis, in some ways, Memphis style messling. Messling?
I love Memphis wrestling.
We're all loving Memphis wrestling, and it is kind of like spotty PWG.
Yeah.
And Goofy, like, I didn't know it was Ricochet until I felt the ball.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah. It's so fun.
My God.
I love that they saved it, that Swerve missed the last one, and they were like, it's cool, we'll just redo it with you. It was so much fun last week.
It's exhilarating. It was really exhilarating to just be like, wow, I'm having so much fun for the third week in a row. I'm so happy.
I know.
Yeah.
Third
I can't
week
believe
in a row
anyone's bitching about AEW right now.
No, but I like it both ways, but I do enjoy the version of like Swerve being like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on vacation that week," and then he watched Dynamite and was like, "What the fuck? That match ruled, guys! We gotta do it again. We gotta do it again.
Do it like that.
I didn't know it was gonna be that cool. We gotta do it. I gotta be there. I gotta be there. That's so fun.
So fucking fun." Matt Jackson shocked Swerve by rolling him up for the win, and I thought,
shocked Swerve and me.
You know what?
And Matt, like it felt like Matt was shocked, Swerve was shocked, the audience
and me.
was shocked.
Everybody was surprised.
The girls, the gays, and Coleman. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, so the Bucks and Ricochet were scrambling up the ramp, just being like, "We fucking did it! We did it, boys!" And Matt was like boisterously pointing at Ricochet and shouting the winning formula, and Ricochet looked like transported, like I was the middleman, and then we won the match, and they liked me so much, and it was just like, girl, the Jaws theme is playing.
He literally, like 6 months from now, he's going to be in a dark room crying and remembering this night and feeling so strange.
You know,
I wonder if it's, you know, like if you could talk to the middleman and be like, listen, if you knew how it was going to end, would you do it anyways? Would you do it again? Was it worth it?
I just imagined
the highs were so high.
I was imagining the Law and Order SVU opening thing where it's like, these are their stories.
Meanwhile, I was over here thinking about the lyrics to Garth Brooks' The Dance.
I could have missed the pain, but I'd have to miss the dance. Wow. Our lives are better left to chance.
For the dance is the party match.
The dance is the party match. I can't miss the dance anymore. I need the dance every week. You can't take this away, at least every other week.
I know.
You can't take this away from me. I need to have
Here's
fun.
the thing.
No.
I was so mad that the Young Bucks were gone for so long. But if what's happened now is that the Young Bucks missed so many dates that they're going to be doing a party match every week until the end of the year, I'll stop complaining. But
would you
That's
stop
fine.
complaining if they then took another 6 months off? Like, are you saying you're okay with a permanent 6 months on, 6 months off schedule?
If I know it's going to be consistent, yeah, I sort of am like, well,
you're like,
while I'm in winter, it'll be miserable, but then the sun will come out again, you know?
Literally
She's saying she would have missed the dance, so she would take that bargain. Yeah.
Okay. What are we talking about here? Roosh cut a promo on Dynamite. He was wearing this sweater. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it in wrestling. No one has ever done this before.
No.
It was a little white knit.
I'm glad you said in wrestling because I was like, Ellie,
I've never seen
I've
never seen a sweater before, Ann. I don't know. I had to Google this garment. And Google didn't find me the answer because it doesn't work anymore. No, I've never seen anything like this in wrestling. He just looked like he had been out at the farmer's market, and then Tony called and said, I need you to come cut a promo, and he said, I don't have time to change. So I guess I'll come back in my beautiful little
with my paper bag full of artisan maple syrup.
Can you hold these for a moment? I'm somebody's husband.
And you know what? If you want to be a top guy, you've got to present yourself as a star, and I think the sweater did it.
Sweater did it. And I was in the Social Suplex live watch, and somebody in it was like, because I was in the live watch being like, that's my boyfriend. That's my boyfriend. He treats me so well. He takes me to a lake cabin, vacation weekend away. And so someone was like, it's just a sweater. And I was like, a sweater will do a lot. Have you heard of a movie called Knives Out?
Have you?
Like a sweater will do. When I said, I was like, generational women fell in love with Billy Crystal based on
so
his
true.
sweater.
Please never underestimate the power of a cozy sweater on a man.
It's not just that it's a sweater, it's the context of the sweater. You're not expecting it. No one has ever worn a sweater of this type on wrestling before. I've never seen a man come out on wrestling looking like, I love to just be a nice husband, a provider, and just a guy who loves my kids.
Yeah. That's what
I've never
says.
seen it.
I love to be the big spoon. It's my favorite place to be.
Get back there.
Hello?
Start spooning.
Yeah.
My back's getting cold, Roosh.
It says, I'll be so nice to your mom. Your parents are going to love me more than you.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, thank you, Roosh. Thank you for that. Apparently, Roosh had a 4-way on Collision versus AR Fox, Kevin Knight, and Sammy Guevara that had a $100,000 prize. Can you tell me why any match that Kevin Knight is in now has a $100,000 prize? Why is that?
It's the vibe is very much like Tony felt really bad because he undersold his contract. Like he was expecting Kevin Knight. He was expecting Kevin Knight to negotiate, and Kevin Knight just accepted this low number. And Tony's like, "Oh, I can't do this. I'm just gonna keep inventing ways."
But then this one is so funny because Sammy Guevara wins it. Imagine you set up a match to be like, I have to get Kevin Knight an extra $100K somehow, and I need it to not be a thing. And then Sammy Guevara wins, and he's just like, I got $100,000.
I think that's the plot of a Friends episode where Chandler's trying to give Joey rent money. And And then Ross plays the made-up game against him.
Well, Tony is a 90s kid, so that all checks out. And I want to say, but I will say, it's about feminism. The women should be fighting for money sometimes then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
They need the bonuses more than the men do, surely.
Yeah. We're getting paid 80 cents on the dollar. Why don't some of these fucking matches
you
go for us?
can't have men fighting for money twice in a month and no women fighting for money.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to have the women fight for money, but it'll be for $80,000.
To bring awareness, Anne. To bring awareness,
yeah. It'll be really good awareness.
Okay, Roosh was mad, I guess, that he didn't win $100,000. I would be too. And so later in the show, Okada fought Kevin Knight, and Roosh attacked Kevin Knight on the way out, and then Speedball had to come out and save Kevin Knight. And Kevin Knight was like, I'm fine. I can totally keep wrestling. I can wrestle. I'm fine. But then he did lose his match because he perhaps wasn't fine and not as good at wrestling as he would have been otherwise. And so then Okada was was just being mean to him and beating him up more. And so then Speedball and Mike Bailey had to come out and save him again, which I kind of love. I'm like, that's pathetic. That's so sweet. That's pathetic.
Yeah. I love a pathetic man being rescued by his beleaguered husband. I mean, that does it for us more than anything.
Of course, that's what we love the most. And I love that I'm like, as far as I know, you guys just met. You guys did orientation together at your new job that you got a month ago. And now you are boyfriends. And you're really normal boyfriends.
Yeah, that's the thing is like...
So normal.
It's like they met at orientation. Someone asked someone else out. They had a pretty normal date. Yeah. They've actually kept dating. Things are progressing normally. Yeah. Nobody is moving too quickly. No one's doing anything weird. Everyone's just like they're like, hey, this is going well.
Really functional. Yeah, no obstacles. I think our friend Nicole said it. They're like a side character in a rom-com. Yeah. Like the side couple that like the main couple's having a lot of stress, but they're
like in the background
going to the farmer's market.
Right. It's just like occasionally the main couple is like looking at them being like, God, I wish I had what they have, but I'm just not that mentally well. I'm a mentally unstable sociopath, so unfortunately I can't have what they have, but God, what if I could?
Someone in our Social Suplex channel also was like, their vibe also sort of is that Tony Khan arranged marriage them, and it surprisingly went great. Like, they met at the altar and was like, this seems fine.
This is exactly what I expected. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I read it, this is really relevant enough, but I love this, so I'm going to tell you anyway. I read an article one time by someone whose parents, like, had an arranged marriage, and she was like, yeah, and then when I was in my 20s, so they'd been married, like, 20, 30 years, they suddenly, like, fell in love with each other. Like, they were all giggly and, like, sneaking around. Oh my God. And it was, like, really unsettling for her as their child, and I was like, that's, like, could someone film that story?
I know. Yeah, that's fascinating.
That's incredible. Like, what happened?
It's not actually, of course, the plot of The Americans, but it is...
a little bit, though.
It's associated. And, of course, I also find it quite electrifying to be like, you spend 20 years being like, well, it's fine. It's just what happened, and it's fine. And then suddenly you're just like, I love you for real. Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
Do you love me?
And in Big Love, when Bill and Barb were kind of having an illicit affair, that was so horny. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
maybe I'll watch Big Love. I've never watched Big Love.
Yeah. Oh, you should.
Maybe I'll watch that.
Super fun.
Yeah. I got to stop watching Suits.
You can't
it's making
watch
me
Suits
so mad
anymore, dude. It's
it's making me so mad.
I think it could give you a coronary because it's like it's not going to get better.
Yeah.
You know that.
No. At this point,
5 seasons in, it's not getting better.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Watch Big Love, and if it goes well, it can be what's making you happy next week. So
that is such a good point. Yeah. Wow.
Maybe it'll be what's making me happy every week.
No,
every time.
Different thing.
I'll just
There's
be
only
like,
5 seasons in their HBO seasons.
And it's a different thing every 3 weeks. So we're not doing the same thing.
Okay, that's not in the rules.
It is in the rules. I just put it in. I just wrote it into the rules. I just wrote it on in there. All right. Okay. FTR and Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia now being called Daniel Garcia only on the AEW website.
They've always done that, actually. They've always done that. We're the only ones who call him Danny.
We're the only ones who call him Danny?
I think Matt Menard calls him Danny. Nobody else calls him Danny.
Wow, I'm having to rewrite reality in my head. All right, okay, well, that's a wake-up call for me. FTR and Stokely marched up to Tony Schiavone on Dynamite to be like, do you have a problem with us? I guess because Tony has been mean to them on commentary, even though they apologized to him. And then, I don't know, something happened. I think I meant to rewatch this, but then I didn't.
I'll say this for free. They would have never been allowed to talk to Tony Schiavone like that if Nigel was there.
Well, it was cowardly to show up to the show that Nigel's not at. Yeah. And I think I think that should be textual.
It should be. Yeah. And Nigel needs to talk to Taz and Excalibur and be like, guys, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, afterwards, Taz was like, boy, Tony, you're always getting yourself into trouble. And it's like, well, you didn't lift a finger to help, did you?
I would love to watch a promo that's just like the commentary team has a meeting every week. And it's just like Nigel standing up like, I've got a point of order. When I'm not there, someone else has to be his husband. I need someone to stand in for me. Like, are we a team or are we not? And they're like, we're a team and that's not our responsibility. That's a kind of like a your responsibility, like your husband thing.
I just tried to picture like Excalibur standing up to FTR for Tony Schiavone, and it was like, oh, that's not. No, that's
get his
not
ass beat.
No.
I want to see him get his ass beat because he's like, it's better to get my ass beat by FTR now than to get my ass beat by Nigel later.
That's true. I think I would be more worried about Nigel.
Yeah. Well, especially when he's been lit up by his love for Tony.
But don't you think Excalibur's vibe is that he refuses to get into a fight with literally anybody? Even Don Callis sometimes, he's like, well, this is what's happening to us. Like, Taz and Tony get into their feuds all the time, but Excalibur's just like, peace at any cost.
It's true, but he's not going to be able to refuse to get into a fight with Nigel. Nigel is going to kill him. If he doesn't protect Tony, Nigel will kill him. You can't just say, no, you're not allowed to kill me. I don't get into fights, I'm afraid, so I'm going to have to decline. No, you're dead.
It'd be like Excalibur just keeps like sidling away real fast, and Nigel keeps like lunging for him and doesn't quite. I think that Nigel has to say on commentary on Collision, I need to hear him saying, like, they only did that because I wasn't there. It's cowardly for them to do that when I'm not there, when they know I would always protect you. I would do anything for you.
I think Collision just finished airing. I hope we sign off and that's what happened. Hear this.
Great.
Yeah,
I'm sure we will.
I just started to say to the mic, tell us in our Discord. They're not listening. We're not live.
We will have found out by that point, probably. Danny Garcia answered Max Caster's open challenge on Collision and beat him in 1 minute. And then we got this Max Caster promo, I think it was posted online afterwards, where the cameraman is pursuing Max Caster. Being like, Max, I'd love to talk to you about kind of what's going on in your life right now. Max Caster has turned around. He says, no, no, no. He leans over, he pukes. I went to heaven. I mean, it's like, I just went to
absolutely
heaven.
Perfect.
So good.
And then he's just literally running away through the venue. Then the cameraman is pursuing him. And I said, this is what I've been asking for years. After a wrestler's match goes bad, the cameraman should be pursuing that wrestler as the wrestler tries to go find somewhere to die, like an animal. I'm trying to go die. And the cameraman is like, and I'll be there. And I'll be there at the end.
And this cameraman was like, we don't normally talk to the losers. We're all having to get into shape to be able to catch you. Please stop running away. Amazing.
I mean, what can we say? We've been saying it for weeks and months at this point. Max Caster, your gimmick is impeccable.
Perfect.
So good.
Perfect.
And when poor Anthony Bowens is doing such a bad job, and he's got his little baseball gimmick, which is just and the thing about me is I'm real athletic. It's like, buddy, this is a pro wrestling company.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
Everybody is.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
No,
everybody
so
is. You gotta.
And
I know.
But now it's like,
and I want him. I want good things for him.
Of course.
I like him. I want him to have a thing, but I'm sort of like, oh, you're so boring.
It's like if you need to get anywhere near the level that Max Caster is at of calling out men that he could never possibly beat, getting his ass handed to him, running away, puking, and just being like, and I'll do it again. And I'll do it again.
Trying to steal a forklift. And then finally getting away from the cameraman by squeezing into the tightest space behind a chain link fence and kind of scooting and shimmying his way away from the cameraman. Hello?
Oh my God.
It's kind of like in wrestling, of course there's some people who a very select few who can want to be cool, try to be cool, and be cool. it's like 2 of you maybe, and I can't even name you. The rest of you, it's like you just have to be yourself. You have to be unashamed. And sometimes that is going to mean doing something that's technically humiliating, but actually the most sublime entertainment that a girl with anxiety could ask for.
Right? Yeah. You can't be a pro wrestler. Well, you can. Many of them are. But if you're a pro wrestler, you should embrace humiliation because look at your job.
If you don't, you can't be loved by us.
Do you guys think that... I guess he would have had to come back as a heel for this to work, but do you think Stokely should have been paired with Anthony Bowens rather than FTR?
Would be better.
I think Stokely would have done a lot because Anthony Bowens can get weird if somebody else is kind of egging him on. So I think it's possible that he and Stokely would have been, although I guess Stokely would have just been his Max Caster. So maybe it would have just...
Yeah, but he is like a good straight man though. So, and I feel like if the other guy isn't wrestling, like it could work. It'd work better than, I don't think it's particularly good with FTR. I think Owen was saying too that Anthony Bowens feels very like focus group workshopped, which I think is right, where it's like, oh, you need to like find what's true about you and lean into it.
I wish what he was leaning into is that he's wearing very slutty crop tops, and so he was just like, this is thirst trap central, baby.
That's all the personality
works with the crop top is good for me. You think a baseball thing? Sure, if you think that the crop top fits that gimmick, that's fine.
Well, it's like every week he should come out in a different costume, like except that it's like that's slutty Halloween.
He's like, I am a baseball player and I wear a lot of crop tops. Like, all right, I'm
but
listening.
then it's like the next week he's a fireman, but he's the uniform is cuts right above his nipple.
I was just about to be like, he does the full YMCA, like he's one guy after another, and then I was like, is that a homophobic joke? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. But he wore the crop top. I mean, we're just working with what we got here. It's like
exactly.
The thing is that I think ultimately what we are not clicking with is kind of staying with that baseball thing. It's not that it's like, I get it. You like baseball and you are good at baseball and you're good at sports. I understand it. For me, that is not kind of getting the job done in terms of me feeling an interest and a connection to you as a man and a character.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of, too much inside baseball. But it's like, Anthony, at this moment, you're not really going to get pushed to the top of the card. You're going to be in the mid card. That's where you are until you
mid card at best.
Yeah. Right. So in that case, your gimmick does have to be more than athletic because realistically, you're going to do some losing. Because that's where you're at. So
right.
Get real.
Like, Max Caster's a genius to be like, my gimmick is going to be, I call myself the best wrestler alive, and I get squashed every week. It's like, it's perfect. And you get on the show every week because you got to
every week. Everybody's going to love it. He's got the crowds with him so hard. I think he's baby-face turning off of this.
Oh, for sure.
Because he's like, I don't give a shit. I'll do it. I will look so pathetic, and then I'll just pop back up. I'll just pop. Every week I say, nothing could get me down. And then a man sits on me so hard I flatten completely, and then I just pop back up.
Then I run away, I puke, I scream, I climb a fence to get away from a cameraman. I mean, honestly, like, every wrestler in AEW should embrace the fact that being willing to lose is going to get you over so much faster than being these assholes who won't. Because it's like, look at Swerve, who lost this goddamn week. Like,
you have to lose while being a person that we're like, that we want to root for. Like, we want you to win. If you lose, people love lose and lose, but we want you to win. That's all it takes.
That's where it is. Yeah.
And Max Caster, may I say, body be banging. Titties looked unreal.
God,
You're running around, you're barfing, your boobs are out. Like, okay, I'm in heaven.
And I don't think we've said, but his like HBO Max gear is so fun. Like, it just says Max in the logo. Like, that's smart
synergy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Was there anything you wanted to talk about that we did not get a chance to talk about?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, girls. This was a fun week.
We're back.
Yeah.
Everyone looking hale, hearty, in high spirits. We had some laughs, and we had some smart talks. And you know what? You'll get that every week here. You'll get one of
Okay, don't make promises we can't make.
Some weeks more than others, yeah.
Out of 52 weeks, a high proportion of them will be Hale and Hardy.
What do you think we aim for? Like, what do you think we could really sell? Like
40? Like 40 out of 52?
40, I thought you meant 40%. I was like,
40. I know. I was like, okay,
higher hit rate than that.
I think we're at a 60 or 70% hit rate.
I was going to give a 70 and I felt good about it.
I was totally,
70%. But it's passing grade?
Yeah, but probably 40 out of 52.
Where do you think Dynamite is at?
So, same page.
40.
Lower than ours.
Yeah.
Lower than ours.
I think Dynamite's good percentage is lower than ours. I think.
I think 50.
Sure. You think 50? Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I think
I'll give you that. Especially
50.
when you get the pay-per-views in
maybe
there.
55 or 60. Yeah, if you include the pay-per-views, we're up to a...
But if you include Collision, we're down to a 20. I mean, real dud of a show, am I right?
Especially if it's like, not just now, but like the whole run of AEW.
The mature, comfortable run, On that note, I've been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
This is Tunnel Talk. Our theme is by Chris Krorkin. You can find us on Twitter, Tumblr, Twitch, and Blue Sky at Tunnel Talk Pod via email, tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. We have a souvenir stand. You can find it at chop-tees.com. You can find us on our feed, on the Social Suplex Network feed, where you can check out all the other great podcasts on the network. And you can find us on the Social Suplex Network Discord. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Stay frosty. And as always, please, come back next week. That's the most normal I've done it in years. I mean...